Hello, we're going to do a quick little review here on fractions. And after our review, we're going to talk about what equivalent fractions are. So, just as a reminder, when you have a fraction, you are telling a part of a whole amount. It is written with one number up above another number, and we have fancier words we like to call those numbers. The number on the top is called the numerator. The number on the bottom is called the denominator. Here's what those words and what those numbers mean. The denominator tells how many equal parts an object is divided into. So we have this rectangle. It's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. So our denominator is 5. The numerator tells us how many of those parts we're talking about. So in this case, we're looking at what is shaded. There is 1 out of those 5 parts that are shaded, so our numerator is 1. 1 out of the 5 parts of the rectangle are shaded. So we would say that 1/5 of the rectangle is shaded. Now, we're going to take that we know about fractions and apply it to learn about equivalent fractions. So if you look right here, I have another rectangle that looks just like the one at the top. It is divided into 5 equal parts. But I'm going to go ahead and take those 5 equal parts and I'm going to divide it another way. So that now, instead of 5 equal parts, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equal parts. So this rectangle is divided into 10 equal parts. That means our denominator over here on the bottom needs to be the number 10. Now, with my 10 equal parts, I'm going to shade some of them in so that it shows the same amount that's shaded in here on the top one. So if I look where I started out with the 5 parts that it had, I'm just going to look here in this first group and shade those in. And you can tell that the same amount of the whole rectangle is shaded in both of those parts. So this time I'm going to count how many out of the 10 are shaded in to write my numerator up here on the top. So I have 1, 2 shaded in. That means the fraction that tells how much of the rectangle is shaded would be 2/10. So we've seen 1/5 and we've seen 2/10, and we know that that really is the same amount. The same amount is shaded in on both of those. So let's look down here at our equivalent fractions. I already have 1/5 written here, and we're going to write what 1/5 is equal to. What fraction did we find that 1/5 is equal to? It is equal to 2/10. Excuse me. Okay, so when we write it like that, we have 1/5 is equal to 2/10. That means that 1/5 and 2/10 are equivalent fractions. Now, here's something that you can do to help you know if two fractions are equivalent or not. I'm going to look at my 2 numerators that I have. I have 1 and then I have 2. In order to go from 1 to 2, I'm going to think through what could I multiply 1 by to get to 2? Well, 1 times 2, I'll draw a little line up there to show it. 1 times 2 is 2. To find 2 fractions that are equivalent to each other, whatever you multiply the numerator by to get the second fraction, you also have to multiply the denominator by that same exact amount. So since I multiplied 1 times 2, I'm going to multiply 5 times 2. And if you look, 5 times 2 is 10. So in order to check to see if two fractions that you have are equal, or if they're equivalent, you have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the exact same amount. If that number comes out to be the same, once you've multiplied it by the same number, then you would know those two fractions are equivalent to each other.